NCD's claims controversy. Yesterday, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyako Ampem presented the findings of an audit exercise before Parliament. In one case, although government paid 771.2 million cedis to purchase 100,000 metric tons of maize to mitigate the impact of the dry spell, only 11,900 metric tons was supplied and distributed. We'll hear from the peasant farmers across the country shortly who say they have been left surprised by the revelation as they were expected to benefit from the intervention. However, they did not. My colleague Caleb Ziblim is with our research desk and joins us in the studio with a breakdown of the numbers. So Caleb, let's start with this. What about the audit findings did you find regarding expenditure during the 2024 dry spell?
Yes, so we know that during the 2024 dry spell, when food production in the country was generally low, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, through the Ministry of Finance, ordered the purchase of some 34,000 metric tons of rice. And out of the 34,000 metric tons of rice, 24,000 metric tons were delivered. So that means an outstanding 10,000 metric tons were unaccounted for. So again, for rice importation or rice purchasing to support the country during the dry spell, about 10,000 metric tons of rice was unaccounted for. Again, about 100,000 metric tons of maize was procured during the period, and only 11,000 metric tons were received. So again, another 88,100 metric tons of maize, which was paid for, was not delivered.
And what about the 159 million cedis used to settle teacher trainee allowances? What do we have on that?
Okay, so according to the audit report, the Ministry of Education informed the Finance Ministry that GTEC had informed the Education Ministry that some teacher trainee arrears were being owed, and then they requested almost 160 million Ghana cedis to be released for the payment of the teacher trainee allowances. During the audit team went to GTEC and asked GTEC whether they indeed had some teacher trainee allowances that they need to pay for in excess of 159 million or almost 160 million Ghana cedis. And GTEC told the auditors that they are not aware of such payments. So the 169 million was not backed by any claims at GTEC.
Well, the Deputy Finance Minister also mentioned about 89 million cedis connected to the One District, One Factory initiative.
Yes, so for the One District, One Factory, when some companies sign up to the One District, One Factory, the government will assist you in paying some of the interest on loans you take from banks. And according to the audit report, almost 89 million Ghana, in excess of 89 million Ghana cedis was claimed to be owed to some 5 banks. Now, during the audit team went to all the 5 banks and asked the banks whether they were owed some amount of money in relation to the One District, One Factory. And all the banks said no, they were not owed. So 89 million cedis was supposed to be paid to some accounts in some banks, allegedly under the One District, One Factory proposal or policy document. But then when the auditors went to the various banks which said they were owed, the banks said they were not owed.
Caleb Ziblim, thank you so much for that update, and he is with the Joy News research desk. Meanwhile, government spokesperson Felix Kwachiofosu, speaking on PM Express yesterday, alleged that the arrears had been deliberately manipulated, describing them as an attempt to fleece the state.
In order that of the gravity of the findings contained in the report, the Deputy Minister for Finance, who was representing his boss, the Finance Minister, read key highlights of the report, and it was harrowing. You see, it's as if every single policy that the MPP implemented was designed to line the pockets of people or fleece the nation. So you bring 68 billion Ghana cedis for payments. The Auditor General looks into it and finds that only about 45 billion Ghana cedis was valid and could be paid, and that up to 13 billion Ghana cedis could not even be charged at all because there were no supporting documents. In some instances, there are no supporting contracts. In other words, there's nothing that shows that government has committed to obtaining the services of a particular entity to do a job, for which reason they need to pay with a rise. There's nothing that backs the claim, and yet these claims have been presented.
You have a government spokesperson, Felix Kwachu, speaking with Evans Mensah on PM Express yesterday. Let's go on the phone lines and speak to the acting executive director of the Peasant Farmers Association, Bismarck Owusu-Nortey. Good evening. Thank you for your time here on Newsnight. I'm sure you heard the Deputy Finance Minister yesterday when he spoke about the findings in that audit report, with particular emphasis on the metric ton, the maize and then the rice that were procured during the dry spell and expected to be distributed to some of the farmers across the country. Just want to find out, did your members receive any of the produce?
Well, good evening and thank you for having me. The association, I can confirm, we have over 1 million members across the country. And in the period where we heard that there were some distribution, our checks from our members across the country within that period did not confirm that any of them had actually benefited from any of the relief items that were given. In fact, during the period of 2024, where there were extreme dry spell, and we made a call for government to find means to pushing the farmers to advance their investment. We're told that government was mobilizing some resources. And during that period, we even questioned the approach and the modality for the distribution of the relief items, because we have thought that the process would have gone through the local system, that through the Department of Agriculture, the respective districts, where farmers were expected to register. That farmers who are affected to register with the assembly, and the assembly, through the extension officers, were expected to go to the site to map out the various routes of the farmers to know the extent of damage due to the dry spell, so that appropriate relief items can be given to the victims. Unfortunately, that particular registration exercise did not even happen as we expected. And when it was time for distribution, at least when we heard from the media, instead of these items going through the respective agri directors, we heard that it was rather the politically exposed persons who were given opportunities to distribute whatever items that they had. So a lot of farmers who didn't even have any connection to either the member of parliament or the DC or the regional minister, they were not able to access it. So for us, it comes to us as a shock that the nation has actually spent this amount of money for a relief item when the actual beneficiaries were not even attached to the fact that they even got a penny or even a bag of the supposed items that were distributed.
Bismarck, Kenneth here. Do you think the alleged irregularities in these areas could have affected resources that were meant for farmers dealing with the drought and food production challenges?
No, absolutely. Because I remember very well when the then Minister of Food and Agric made a call that government needed over 8 billion cedis or so to bring relief to the farmers who have been affected. We made a case that the 8 million or so was too much to only focus that on relief items. So we could have even used some to construct or rehabilitate dams to ensure that in the long term, farmers do not suffer this particular consequences. But unfortunately, we were told that no, the money should be allocated for those particular people. So the money that could have been used even partly to provide input for farmers to go into production, whilst we could have used some for infrastructure like irrigation to ensure that we do not experience this cycle again. Unfortunately, at least for the report on audited area, it's like people actually connect. And we are extremely disappointed, and we are to wait that taxpayers' money that is meant to bring relief to farmers should be finding a way into the hands of private people. And we will be extremely disappointed if government is not able to prosecute all those who are involved in this particular endeavor.
Thank you very much, Bismarck Owusunote. He is the Executive Director of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana.
Daniel Yao Domlevo is a former Auditor General. He's joining us via Zoom for more on this. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Domlevo. From an auditing standpoint, what does it mean when a report describes arrears as fraudulent, and what typically leads to such situations in public financing management? We're still working the lines to get Daniel Domlevo there. Unfortunately, we do not have him yet.
I will try and get him as we go on. For now, though, let's bring you some other stories. And the Minister for Works and Housing, Kenneth Gilbert Ejay, has declared war on encroachers along the Wager Dam and treatment plant. Concerns about the encroachment came up strongly today during when the Deputy Minister and the Managing Director of Ghana Water Limited assessed the area. Well, this is not the first time this complaint has come up, as the managers of the place indicated it has been an age-old challenge, putting both encroachers and the plant at risk. Listen to Engineer Dr. Hadiswal Hassan briefing the entourage.
Encroachment now has been very diffused because it's everywhere. Up here, very well encroached, and we used to look at it from this direction. But if we see at the back of the dam, we see full developed communities there. Whatever waste they do goes directly into the dam. Now it's gone beyond this to the treatment plant. When we climb up there, you would see that people are getting close, and it's dangerous because we are using chlorine gas for treatment. I remember some few years ago in Nigeria there was an incident of chlorine gas leakage, and people around the area died. So when we are talking about this, we are talking about safety issues and other issues. So basically, that is that. When we go there, we'll show you what it is here.
Right, that is the Works and Housing Minister, Kenneth Ejay there. My colleague James Aveji was with the team on that tour and is joining me in studio with more. James, essentially the challenges we're learning is beyond the encroachment. Tell us more.
Ken, the plant is also faced with what they call the invasion of water hyacinth plant, which has been described as a very invasive species on the water, growing very fast, which they say if it engulfs the entire water and gets close to the intake plant could pose threat to the facility. Other challenges include the siting of landfill sites close to the water, as well as sand winning even along the banks of the Wager Dam. The managing director of the Ghana Water Company, Ghana Water Limited, Muta Wakilu Adam, has been explaining what the GWL is doing in their own capacity to deal with the challenges, as they indicated that the assembly, which is expected to ward off the people, does not seem to be living up to expectation with this regard.
Because it's a huge place, so we can't build a fence wall around. But there are certain places we've taken a decision that we need to build a wall. That will be the best way to protect the most critical sections of the dam and the treatment plant already. As much as I'm aware, we've directed and the production unit continue to engage the district assemblies. We can't direct them. They attend the monthly meetings and the annual meetings to put in the agency to ensure that these structures do not come up.
And James, but how does the minister intend to deal with the encroachment issue?
He said as he's returning to Accra, he will schedule an urgent meeting with two other sector ministers, the local government minister as well as the national security ministers, to see how they can deal with this urgently.
We've seen that there's encroachment going on, and I'm sure when we look around where we find the dam, we see that people are building, farmers are farming around, and from pictures too that we saw some winning activities also going on. So now as a ministry we are going to take it up. I'm going to engage my colleague, the local government minister, who takes care of the local authorities. We are going to sit down and talk seriously about it. And then I'm also going to have a discussion with the National Security Minister and the coordinator to see how best we can ensure that we don't get further encroachment. And those that have encroached already to receive the kind of punitive measures we can put in place so that it will deter others too from getting close.
And James, finally, he also gave an update on the water crisis in the Teshi area all the way to Pram Pram. How soon will the challenge be fixed?
Well, according to the minister, the president has tasked him together with two other, the finance minister as well as the AG, to finish with negotiations with the project and fix it immediately.
We are seriously working on it. I know one headache that we're having as a country is that we continue to plead with the people that that plant serves them as irritation or emit sound in areas. And I know it's even affecting the people of Pampa, of which I've directed Ghana Water to ensure that that thing is resolved, because I spoke to the Honorable Minister of Pampa, Honorable Sam George, and he's having serious issues there. His people are on him that our water is not flowing. So Ghana Water is trying its best to get it resolved. And that of the desalination plant, His Excellency the President has directed myself, the Finance Minister and the Attorney General to ensure that we get it resolved. Consultations are ongoing. The owners of the plant were in town. We met them. We are still negotiating. Very soon we will conclude it and the plant will start working.
That's the Work and Housing Minister, Kenneth J. there. Let's go back to our earlier story and bring in the former Auditor General, Daniel Yao Domelevo. Grateful for your time this evening. I was asking you, from an auditing point of view, what does it mean when a report describes arrears as fraudulent, and really what typically leads to such situations in public financial management?
Well, thank you very much. From my point of view, when a report describes a transaction as fraudulent, it means that there was a deliberate act or intention to manipulate records, to steal money, or to conceal some indebtedness or some revenue.
Right. And if these arrears were deliberately manipulated as is being alleged, what legal or administrative consequences should follow for the institutions or officials who were involved?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, permit me to say kudos to the Auditor General and his team. Congratulations for the work they have done. Now, there are two things which can be done. We can take administrative as well as legal or prosecutorial process in addressing these issues. Administratively, the public officers or officials who are responsible for allowing expenditures that are not legitimate to be presented for payment, I think should not be spared. The first thing I think can be done quickly at the instruction of the president or whoever cares to take the action is to suspend those people and investigate their level of involvement. So a committee can be set up to look at how did they get themselves involved in this? How come the payment which you have already made, you have submitted documents for the same payment? And if one is found culpable, then they should be dismissed. That can be done administratively. However, the criminal aspect of it, which is the attempting to steal or defraud the state, that one I think should go through the Attorney General. But my understanding is that some of the debts have been disallowed and some have been surcharged. If there is a disallowance or a surcharge, then the Constitution under Clause 9 of Article 187 provides that anyone who is aggrieved must go to court. So the one who is surcharged, if he's not happy, may have to go to court. But if he or she does not go to court, then Section 17 of the Audit Service Act at 584, that is at Audit Service Act 2000 at 584, Section 17 provides that after 60 days, then that debt has matured. So the Attorney General may have to take a civil action against the people and recollect the money, except the disallowance. You know, there's difference between surcharge and disallowance. I don't know if you want me to explain.
No, that's fine.
Okay, all right.
And based on your experience as Auditor General, how common is it for state institutions to submit arrears that later turn out to be unverified or inflated?
Yeah, you know, when this broke up, many people asked me, and I told them it is disgusting, it is annoying, it is not acceptable, but it is not surprising to me. It is a thing which has been happening for several years now. You remember when President Kufuor and Co came into government, the OPPP that they were shouting, if you remember, that government was owing OPPP, and then that died out. When I also became Auditor General in 2018, I conducted a similar exercise, if you do remember, and disallowed 5.4 billion, the equivalent of 1.1 billion US dollars at the time. And nobody has been held accountable. No chief director or accountant has been called to say that you are aware that this expenditure has already been paid, or there is no work done, or there's no goods supplied, or services rendered, and you have processed this document that we should pay for it. Nobody has been held accountable. Hence, people feel motivated to also try. And if they are successful, they get away with it. So because there are no consequences for the misbehavior, it keeps recurring.
Finally, Mr. Domlevo, do you believe the Parliament currently has enough oversight mechanisms to detect and stop such questionable arrears before they are approved and paid by the government?
I think it would be far-fetched to expect Parliament to do that. That is done by the ministries, departments, and agencies. They have a duty or a responsibility to ensure that before they make payment or request for payment, goods have been supplied, works have been done, or services have been rendered. And there is an internal audit, which we need to strengthen and ensure that they help management in doing this. After the internal audit comes in the external auditor, who also check all these things and report to Parliament. Parliament does not go down to go and do an audit on themselves or check the controls themselves.
Mr. Daniel Yao Domlevo, thank you very much. He's a former Auditor General, and that brings us to business, and George Riafi is here with the latest. George?
Well, Kenneth, coming up in business, price of some imported goods set to go up on the market due to development in Middle East as the Ghana Shippers Authority warn of supplier disruptions and hikes in the freight cost. An international energy agency said to release record 400 million barrels of oil onto the market, a move that could result in reduced crude prices. The business news on Newsnight is brought to you by MTN Business. Welcome to the new world of business. Kingdom Books and Stationery, your number one-stop shop for all your office essentials, Synthesis tanks, and Pepsodent, Herbal, and Charcoal.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Je m'appelle.
Mappe. Et mappe. Hey, Asamo! French, you dear. This is a midi croissant.
Meet Aja. She makes sobolo in a small shop in Kaswa. She's going places with MTN Ejumapa. Now, she's learning French kakra to teach her francophone customers indigenous recipes.
Watashi no namae wa.
Watashi no namae. Boy.
Whoa. She's learning Japanese too? Watashi. What? If you're a woman with a small business, join MTN Ejumapa today by dialing *5060# and enjoy 150 megabytes data, a lifestyle bundle for social media, free MTN to MTN calls every Monday, and an insurance cover. You will also gain access to expert training, discounts on digital tools, and financial support to grow the business of your dreams. Terms and conditions apply.
MTN.
When nations rise, it begins with bold conversations. When economies grow, it is driven by partnership. This April, Ghana's business and policy leaders converge at the Kojo Business Forum 2026, the nation's premier platform for investment, enterprise, and economic transformation. With special guest of honor, His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama, joining captains of industry, financial institutions, investors, and entrepreneurs.
The Kojo Business Forum is more than just an event. It is a call to action. And so let us work together to build a Ghana that is competitive, productive, and inclusive, and a Ghana that creates opportunities for all.
Come, let's engage in high-level dialogue, explore industry exhibitions, build powerful networks, and unlock real opportunities from finance and insurance to manufacturing, agribusiness, SMEs, and innovation. This is where it all happens. From the 3rd to the 5th of April, 2026, at the Kojo Convention Center, Etibie, go to www.kojobusinessforum.com and register now. To register for exhibitions, call 059 555 5885 or 059 555 5995. Kojo Business Forum. Connect, promote, grow.
Cast your mind back to 2022. The prices were rising. The stress was high. Every liter of fuel felt like a sacrifice. Do you remember who stepped forward first? When others were comfortable with high prices, Star Oil chose you. We cut our own profits so you could keep your AC on, keep your engines running, and keep your life moving without the heavy burden. We gave you room to breathe when things felt tight. Because of you, our star savers, we became number one. Today, the pumps are a battleground. Others are finally cutting prices because they have to. But Star Oil, we do it because we want to. Don't just chase a price, remember a friendship. We were there for you then, and with new innovations coming your way, we are here for you now. Star Oil, still quality and affordable fuels for all.
Shout and sing the song. When the sun they hot, syntax no break. When the rain they fall, still no shake. Builders they choose and plumbers they prove. Any project you they start.
Are you ready to revolutionize the future of agriculture? The Ministry of Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, in partnership with the Ghana Exim Bank, proudly presents the Ghana Agrotech Fair 2026. The fair will feature exhibitions, market linkages, masterclasses, and workshops on climate-smart farming, digital tools, and export development. Join us at the Black Star Square from March 17 to March 19 at 9 a.m. each day. The President of the Republic, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, will be assisted by the Minister for Trade, Agribusiness and Industry, the Honorable Elizabeth Ofori, and the Chief Executive of the Ghana Exim Bank, Honorable Sylvester Adina Mensah, to open the fair. Government agencies, agrotech firms, startups, farmers, financial institutions, and the general public are all welcome. To exhibit or for inquiries, call 0559 679326 or 0242 585419. Media partners: Daily Graphic, Media General, Radio Gold, City FM, Channel 1 TV, and the Multimedia Group. Ghana Agrotech Fair 2026, transforming agribusiness through local innovation and technology.
During Ramadan, the fast is between you and Allah, but the moments around it are shared. From Sahur to Iftar, Cadbury Hot Chocolate makes sustenance as simple as adding hot water. Watch the velvety froth ride, releasing the aroma of Ghanaian cocoa, an exceptional taste, ready in an instant. Cadbury Hot Chocolate, share the warmth of togetherness. Ramadan Curry. This advert is FDA approved.
Ya Allah, send your light on me the dark.
You welcome back to Business on Newsnight. Let's now settle for the details. The price of goods and other imported items could be going up in the coming days. Now, this was after the Ghana Shippers Authority announced that freight and shipping costs has gone up due to development in the Middle East. There is more in the following report.
We are also indicating to shippers that there is a possibility.
Majority of goods sold on the market in the country are imported. Therefore, an increase in freight, shipping cost, and other related charges in shipping these items would definitely impact the price of these goods unless traders or importers decide to absorb the cost. Data from the Ghana Statistical Service has also shown that the majority of Ghana's imports come from the Asia region. That is why the notice from the Ghana Shippers Authority should get all of us worried about the direct impact of the development in the Middle East on everyone. The Ghana Shippers Authority, in the notice to the various players in the sector today, announced that due to the development in the Middle East, which have resulted in shipping costs going up, businesses will have to brace themselves to pay more for both imported goods as well as export. According to the Shippers Authority, the development will also result in some supply chain disruptions for producers and manufacturers in the country. Due to this challenge, it is likely that the cost of production for some manufacturing firms could also increase. It could also lead to shortages of some goods on the market. In all of this, we should not forget the impact this could have on inflation and the general price levels in the coming days if the conflict does not end anytime soon.
And that is a Business Desk report. Meanwhile, the Ghana Shippers Authority is asking businesses to review their timelines and schedules for imports due to the current development in the Middle East. Fred Date is head of freight and logistics at the authority.
We are also indicating to shippers that there is a possibility of delays because when vessels are going on their voyages, they anticipate all of the challenges that may occur, and then they may want to delay or reroute. And so it is important for importers and exporters to build in some potential delay into their systems. So, for instance, if people were planning to import things for Easter, and they were going to wait till a certain time, it's important to initiate the processes a little earlier than usual. So building some latent time to take care of these issues. And then they may also want to look at their insurances.
And that is Mr. Fred Date. He is the head of freight and logistics at the Ghana Shippers Authority. Now, member countries of the International Energy Agency has agreed to release a record 400 million barrels of oil onto the market. Now, this, according to the agency, is to address the supply disruptions triggered by the Iranian war. Now, this is described as the largest in history of the organization. The agency set out that they didn't give any timeline for this as in when it will hit the market. But for a lot of market watch, development could go a long way to help slow the price of crude oil on the international, which has actually crossed the $90 mark on the market this evening. Now, Transport Minister Joseph Nukuri-Bukez has actually appealed to travelers and airlines to bear with the government over the recent increase in airfares. Government introduced a new levy to help fund infrastructure at the country's ports. Now, inspecting works at the ongoing reloading of the Terminal 2 at the Accra, that is the Kojo International Airport, Accra International Airport, which cost about $15 million. Nikwe was optimistic that the facelift would help improve traffic at the ports.
Government, through Parliament, has approved of the airport infrastructure development taxes. We are working with our airline in terms of how we will implement those charges that Parliament has passed for us. And we do not operate in isolation. We always want to give respect to our partners, and the airlines are working with us. And very soon we will roll out the payment plans and how they are going to follow to ensure that the taxes that we need to develop the place will get the taxes. That is why we have brought them to come and see. Should we take the taxes, what we are going to use the taxes to do for them? And I believe they are satisfied with the work we are doing. And our intentions are clear to make our airport one of the best so that any airline that is operating within our airspace or our aviation sector will operate with comfort.
Joseph Nkpe Bukari is the Minister of Transport speaking to journalists after inspecting some works at the Accra International Airport. Now, telecoms giant MTN has introduced a new self-service SIM swap solution to improve customer experience and strengthen fraud protection. Chief Customer Experience Officer Jemiah Makote Walsh said that the initiative is in response to the high number of SIM swap requests whilst eliminating queues at their service center. Speaking at the launch, he noted that the service allows only rightful SIM owners to complete a swap.
We are very excited to launch our self-service SIM swap solution to all our customers today. And the great news is that it uses biometric verification, and this will protect customers against fraud. So if you do the scan and it fails, then you will not be able to proceed through with the swap. Once NIA verifies your biometric details, you'll be able to proceed to go ahead and swap. So that's the key feature which protects customers against fraud. Only the rightful owner will be able to do the self-service SIM swap using the biometric verification process embedded in the solution.
Makote Walsh is the Chief Customer Experience Officer at MTN Ghana. To the stock market, we had more than 9 stocks witnessing an increase in price at the end of trading on the Ghana Stock Exchange. Standard Chartered Bank was the biggest gainer, going up by 6 Ghana cedis, 91 pesos, and is now worth 76 Ghana cedis, 3 pesos. If you had invested on the Ghana Stock Exchange from the beginning of the year to now, you've made more than 75% in terms of returns on your investment. And that's all for business on Newsnight.
George, I see that you didn't know whether it was Kotoka International Airport or Accra International Airport. It's now Accra International Airport.
He was confused.
Thank you.
It will take some time getting used to, I know. It's now time for sports, and Benaya is here with the latest. Benaya.
Sports Minister Ahmad Donyamali says Iran cannot participate in the 2026 FIFA World Cup after co-host the United States launched airstrikes against the country alongside Israel, killing its leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. Now, the United States and Israel launched airstrikes on Iran nearly 2 weeks ago, killing the Islamic Republic's supreme leader, leading to a region-wide conflict in the Gulf. Now, in the draw last December, the Iranians were grouped with Belgium, Egypt, and New Zealand. All 3 of their Group G matches were scheduled to take place in Los Angeles and Seattle. Now, Iran was the only nation missing from a FIFA planning summit for World Cup participants held last week in Atlanta. So, Kenneth, as it stands right now, it makes sense that we won't be seeing. It might not be seen because it's not like officially confirmed by FIFA itself. This from
but the sports ministry says we're not participating.
Yeah,
so whether FIFA confirms or not, they're not coming.
People are even raising concerns that Iran are participating in the World Cup with all this on security concerns, and also it makes sense why they've decided.
And it creates an opportunity for one nation who will fill the gap. I don't know which nation yet. Anyway, Nigeria, I hope it's Nigeria.
I knew you mentioned Nigeria. Now, in other stories, to the UEFA Champions League, and surprisingly, the early cook-off between Bayer Leverkusen and Arsenal. Bayer Leverkusen have just taken the lead against Arsenal, and it's currently 1-0 in the 47th minute. And at 8 p.m., we have Bodo Glimt versus Sporting Lisbon. The big 2 matches are PSG welcoming Chelsea at the Parc des Princes, and Real Madrid welcoming Manchester City at the Santiago Bernabeu.
That should be a cracker of a match.
Yeah, Madrid. I was about to ask which of these 2 games are you going to be keeping your eyes on?
I mean, you know the answer already. Thank you, Benaya.
So that's it for sports, Kenneth.
Thank you very much. Let's bring you more stories, Pearl.
Well, the Food and Drugs Authority is cautioning the public to remain vigilant when buying fried plantain chips, as it begins investigations into claims that some vendors may be using melted plastic to make the popular snack crispier and last longer.
The regulator says it is examining widely circulated reports suggesting that polyethylene, a type of plastic material, may be added to hot cooking oil during the frying process. While the claims are yet to be confirmed, the FDA warns that heating plastic in food preparation can release harmful chemicals that pose serious health risks to consumers.
As investigations get underway, the authorities advising consumers to watch out for unusual chemical smells, plastic-like aftertaste, or chips that remain unusually hard for long periods. But what do consumers themselves make of these warnings? Have a listen.
We are the take plantain. It's a good initiative, but how would you even know? Because with plantain, we fry it with the oil, and you said they add rubber to make it crunchy. So even if a rubber is added to it, how would you even know? It's unless you've taken it in. So in my opinion, I would just advise that they should just really look into the plantain issue so that they will check the customers and those people selling it.
They had when they say a be yanka o ta na nya traffic na se nipa ne di chia. O me manage na ho no hu a. Ahwe se nya no de na de ama no. Enye yenso de a na se traffic mu de.
If you're buying plantain chips in traffic, you might have to make the seller wait while you check the smell. Otherwise, it's better not to buy them at all.
Smelling chips before eating it. I don't know how that is going to smell, because usually the regular one that I would buy, I wouldn't smell before I eat it. My beef has got to do rather with the stapling pins that they use to tie the rubber when the chips is in the rubber, because it's a very risky thing that they do. Supposing a child ate this one, swallowed it, or even the child that doesn't have much teeth in the mouth and it got stuck in the gum.
Now, while some travelers look for peace and quiet, others are searching for something different: energy, activity, and memorable outdoor experiences. Adventure tourism is steadily gaining popularity across many destinations as travelers seek experiences that involve movement and exploration. As part of Joy 99.7 FM's Ghana Month build-up to the Joy Safari Experience 2026, my colleague Noella Kariniale highlights why adventure is becoming an important part of leisure travel.
Some trips are quiet. Others are not. Adventure tourism is built on one simple promise: that travel should come with stories worth retelling. Not just photos, stories. A sudden hike up a hillside. The moment wildlife appears unexpectedly. Or the laughter that fills the air long after sunset. These are the moments turning ordinary getaways into experiences people remember. Across Ghana, a new generation of travelers is leaning towards trips that offer movement and discovery rather than routine sightseeing. Activities on water, exploration through nature, and shared outdoor experiences are gradually redefining how leisure travel is enjoyed. It is this spirit of adventure that shapes the upcoming Joy Safari Experience 2026. It's taking place from March 20 to 21 at the Safari Valley Resort in the Eastern Region. The experience blends exploration, outdoor fun, and relaxation into a 2-day luxury getaway. Because sometimes the best journeys are the ones that come with a little splash, a little laughter, and just enough adventure to make the return trip home feel different. For Joy News, Noella Kariniale.
It's a project designed to save lives and transform vulnerable communities across Accra. The Greater Accra Resilient and Integrated Development Initiative, GARID, is quietly reshaping flood-prone areas, improving drainage and helping residents adapt to climate change.
But not every community is benefiting, at least not yet. On Climate Evidence today, we visit Odona, one of the many urban poor communities still outside the reach of GARID. Here, Rising heat waves and deadly floods threaten lives daily. But as you see, hope is not lost and progress is possible.
In across low-income communities like Nima and Alajo, the Garrett project is delivering real change. New drainage systems, cleared waterways, and climate-smart designs are turning once flooded neighborhoods into safer, more resilient spaces. This is part of Garrett's core aim to protect lives and livelihoods through infrastructure upgrading in some of the most flood-prone areas of the city. But just a few kilometers away, in Odona, the story is very different. Here, over 3,000 residents were displaced this year alone after heavy rains drowned homes. For Mary Clotty, the flood became personal when her child fell ill and help was out of reach. It's a crisis of health, dignity and survival.
I couldn't come out with my child because when I stepped out, the water was up to my shoulders. Luckily, someone came to help me. I went to stand at the stairs and waited for the rain to drain till dawn before coming home. Unfortunately, I couldn't take my child to the hospital.
And when the rain stopped, the heat takes over, turning teen kiosk into
The sun sometimes creates heat, and sometimes it doesn't. When the sun creates heat, the heat is very high, especially for those who sleep in stores, because they do not have any windows. When that happens, we sometimes go and sit outside for a while before going back to sleep. Those with the rooms use mosquito nets and sleep inside. Heat breeds mosquitoes, and mosquitoes spread malaria. When there's an outbreak, people often suffer from skin rashes, especially those who are overweight.
According to research by the University of Ghana, informal communities like Odona face repeated disruption to health services. The study found that temperatures in Odona clinics were over 6 degrees hotter at night than national forecast suggests.
Yes, it affects health facilities.
The flood affects health facilities and hospitals in the area. Sometimes the hospitals are located in flood-prone areas, so when it rains, they are readily affected. The rainwater can enter the hospitals, damaging properties like generators and other equipment. As a result, cholera and malaria outbreaks often occur, affecting the community. The situation is worsened because people are unable to access medical care at the hospitals, leading to increased suffering within the community. Sometimes, doctors and nurses can't come to work because their homes are flooded or the roads are impassable. This prevents them from reaching the hospital, further straining the already overwhelmed healthcare system.
The Garrett project is showing what's possible in communities where it's active. Resilience is rising, but for Odona and many others like it, time is running out. With climate change accelerating, replicating Garrett's success could be the difference between disaster and dignity.
This story is brought to you by Joy News in partnership with CDK in Ghana, University of Ghana Center for Climate Change and Sustainability Studies, with funding from Claire R4I Opportunities Fund.
Right, and that's it for Newsnight. But before we go, here are some of the messages you've been sending to our WhatsApp platform. Nane Kriamwa Boatin from Ablekuma Central says, I will urge the government to heed to the demands by Clocksack. This one says, Gyasi in Sakumono says, what jammed at me in the interim audit report is the fictitious and non-existent account named buffer into which millions were paid. Until we hold individuals, particularly signing off and paying officers accountable, we won't get anywhere as a country. This is Michael Semado from the Volta region, and he says those holding state-owned officers trying or tried or have manipulated accounts have to face their punishment. No committee should be formed. What are they going to do? This is from Nana Ekwiyamwa Boatin, and he says, I will be very surprised if Ghanaians still believe in this lousy propaganda from the Deputy Minister of Finance. And then this one also says that for the way things are going in the country nowadays, the hope is that President will surely build the Ghana we want together. Those are some of the messages that you've been sending to our WhatsApp platform. And Pearl, before we go, don't forget to do the 2. That is, before you go to bed tonight, remember to brush with Pepsodent. And that's it for News Night. My name is Kenneth. Gyasi.
My name is Ofori.
Right after News Night is Strong and Sassy, and Akofa is here. What are we discussing on the program?
So, the just ended weekend, the world commemorated International Women's Day, and on Strong and Sassy, we're bringing a very strong and sassy woman to have a conversation about it. So we're doing Beyond Beauty, Brains, Business, and Boldness. So you might want to tune in.
Exactly.